Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to give you some tips for how I grew my channel to about 20,000 subscribers. And this just isn't coming from me, this is coming from courses about YouTube that I've taken, this is coming from people I know who have channels with like 200,000 subscribers. It's always the same advice, so I wanted to give it to you so you could do it too. First thing, your channel should have some kind of niche. On my channel, I talk mostly about how to help musicians. So for you musicians out there, are you going to do like a thing about your music, a channel all about you, behind the scenes, your personality, maybe a vlog type channel? Or are you going to go down the music production style? And then even in that, you could do tutorials, or you could show gear, or you could kind of just show people like long things of you producing, doing live streams and stuff like that. Or like me, what I do is I share how I'm promoting my music, essentially. There's a million things you could do, but you want to narrow down and niche it. You can divvy up a little bit, but in general, you're going to want to stick with a topic for a large stretch of time, and you don't just want to drastically shift one day. If you're going to try to shift, you're going to try to weave over time. Now, don't let all of that stop you. Just think of some things ahead of time. Spend a couple hours brainstorming and pick a topic and just roll with it. You can change it over time. Just don't be too drastic with it. Now, let's dive into the actual video aspect of this, skipping over the branding because that could be its own video on its own. Videos and how you promote the videos. There's really no magic formula on YouTube. What I've found is YouTube is kind of the only platform that can't be gamed in any way. It really does all just come down to how people are engaging with your videos. And we'll get into the analytics after I talk about this, but when you think about your videos, if you think about when you're scrolling through YouTube, you're looking at all these little thumbnails, and those are what catch your eye. You're going to see a thumbnail, you're going to stop, and you're going to read the title. And if it interests you, you're going to click it, you're going to go to the video. If that video doesn't entertain you or make you want to keep watching within the first 5 seconds, you're just going to bail. So you need to think about that when it comes to your videos as well. How can you get someone to stop scrolling so that they read your title? How can you make your title interesting enough so that they click it? And then how can you make the first 5 seconds interesting enough to where they want to watch the end of the video? Now, not exactly 5 seconds. You don't have to like over-engineer this to death. At the end of the day, you just want to have a great video. If you can't make all of those little steps perfect, it's better to have a better video. But try to think about that pipeline of how the user is actually moving through. And the way that I come up with my videos is I think about what's a problem that people have. You know, I'm a tutorial-based channel. If you're an entertainment channel, it's going to be different. But I think about what is something that lots of people are struggling with, and how can I answer that for them to make them not struggle with it anymore. And that gives you a lot of research potential. You know, that makes you think of the thumbnail. What is someone with this problem going to click on? What is someone with this problem going to read and say, that's my answer? And what is someone going to see in the first few seconds of the video to really say, okay, I'm going to watch this video instead of the other million on YouTube? You need to think about that person who you're making the video for, their needs, and the whole pipeline that leads them from seeing your thumbnail to getting to the end screens of your video. So of course, it's not all just about one video. People aren't going to subscribe to a channel just because of one video in most circumstances. They do, but if someone starts seeing multiple videos from you, that's what makes them realize like, oh, hey, I should probably subscribe to this person or something. You know, that if they get repeated value from you, then they're going to keep coming back. And that's where the idea of a schedule actually comes into play. On my channel, I upload every Tuesday and Friday, although I'm recently shifting to Wednesdays and Fridays. And every Monday, I do a live stream at 8:30 p.m. And sometimes I do extra stuff throughout the week, but that's my schedule. You know, pretty much Tuesday or Wednesday and Friday and Monday. And my subscribers know what to expect, except on the weeks that I end up having to cancel a video. But I take a certain amount of responsibility for it. When I'm going to miss a video, I do a community post. Now, you might not have access to the community post featuring over 1,000 subscribers to get that, but you know, if you're getting followers to follow you on other platforms, notify them. Give them some, you know, have some sense of responsibility to these people that enjoy your content, because they do actually mean something. They're real people. They're not just numbers. So if you think about it like that, you need to do it. And the reason why you need to be on some kind of schedule is to get that. Like, you want to have people that are coming back consistently again and again, because those are positive metrics to YouTube. But more importantly, if people aren't coming back again and again, what the heck are you trying to do? Like growing a YouTube channel? You know, that's kind of the whole point. So you really do need to do a schedule. I recommend starting with at least once a week. Pick any day. The time doesn't matter. The day doesn't really matter. Just start with one day a week and try it. you know, maybe eventually go to 2 days a week. It's worth a shot. Now let's actually dive into the metrics. As you probably guess, a lot of the metrics we're going to be looking at reflect a lot of the things I mentioned before. So let me just switch my screen here. This is a list of my videos, and I'll just pick one. And by the way, you notice this Patreon exclusive video. Might be a reason to join my Patreon. I'm adding exclusive videos there. But anyways, I'm going to click this video, click on Analytics. This video did decently well. And there's some very important metrics in here, and there's some other metrics that are just cool to know. You know, for example, views. A lot of people obsess about views. In the grand scheme of things, views don't matter as much. Like, obviously, we want the views, but views aren't a good indicator of how your video is doing. They're kind of a side effect of that. What's really important is, you know, I mentioned the pipeline of users clicking on your video and getting to the end screens. So there's a couple parts to that, right? If we go to the Reach tab, I believe, there's the click-through rate. That's the number of people that actually clicked on your video based on the number of impressions. And it's reflected over the duration of your video. And this video is doing pretty good. 7% click rate is very good. Different channels and different content types will have different things. You're not trying to compete against anyone. You're just trying to compete against yourself. So if yours is better or worse than mine, it doesn't matter. It's all relative to you. So right, this is the number of people who clicked on the video. And you can actually see this pipeline down here. This is a funnel. You know, you get this many impressions, and you get this many click-throughs, this click-through rate. So you get this many views, and then next we see average view duration. So as I mentioned, you got to get someone to click the video. You got to get them to actually get hooked in the beginning so that they watch a good amount of the video, preferably make it to the end. And that's where the average view duration comes into play. So if I go back over to the overview section, this is where you can actually see your view duration. So if I scroll down, how long people watched your video. Audience retention. And you can actually do see more, and there's some extra useful things in here. So for example, the average view duration was 552. Now you notice if I go back here, average view duration, oh, okay. I messed up. Average view duration, 552. I thought it was different before, but I messed up. So 43.5%. Pretty good. Now, my personal goal for the past few months has been trying to get every video I do, except for the ones that are like an hour long, of course, to get to over 50% view duration. And you can see I'm at 43. So this video, it's not like a top performer, but it's doing pretty good. It's a 13-minute video, and I get people on average to get to 43.5%. So that's cool. Now, the next thing you want to look at is this chart. You want to look out for any points where people are just spiking off. You can see here it's a pretty smooth decline. This is kind of a good decline. If you saw a random spike, like something, this is a little different. This is probably something negligible, but sometimes you'll notice a very like 10% drop off at some point in your video. And that means you want to look at the video at that timestamp and figure out, why did people leave? Like, you must have done something there for people to randomly leave at that point, and that gives you a learning experience to not do whatever you did in future videos. And then you can also look at this drop-off curve. At the beginning, I lost 30% in the first minute. I usually use the benchmark. I'm at like 67%. And so you kind of want to track your videos, and in the first minute, are you getting 70% or are you getting 50%? How can you improve that? How could you make your hook better in the beginning? Now, on this chart, another important metric is the number of people that get to end screens. So, end screens run for the last 20 seconds. So this video is 1330. So if I go to 1310, so it's about 28 something percent. So roughly 30% of people make it to the end screens. My goal is usually 40%. I don't always hit that goal, but that's my goal. In reality, I'd like to have 50% of people get to the end and like 65% get all the way, on average, watch the video. But those are the things. You want to think about the click-through rate. You want to hook them so that your average percentage views is like over 50%, and you ideally want 40 or 50% getting to your end screens. And you can imagine that's also going to affect watch time, which is the metric that a lot of people think YouTube optimizes for, but in reality, it's expected watch time per unique impression. Per unique user impression. So expected watch time per unique user impression. So YouTube is trying to optimize the number of minutes watched per impression. So it's essentially watch time, but it's a multiplication of click-through rate, of average view duration, which leads to watch time. So, the whole impressions to watch time funnel. Now, there's another thing on this page that I want to point out just while I'm here. You can go to relative audience retention, and this is like, I don't know if they give you a little tip here. Yeah, relative audience retention shows your video's ability to retain viewers during playback by comparing it to all YouTube videos of similar length. So this isn't like super specific on your niche or anything. I'm sure there's some algorithmic thing to divvy up educational versus entertainment, but it doesn't say what it does. So, you know, you want to look, is your video like doing way lower view duration throughout your video on average? You want to do something about that. But if you're constantly seeing above average, you're probably doing something right. And you shouldn't worry too much about the views. You want to worry about these numbers, because these are what actually matter. Now, I mentioned that I would share how long it takes to actually grow a YouTube channel, and that's one factor I think a lot of people don't consider. A lot of people think they're just going to blow up in a short time frame. In reality, I think a good benchmark for someone to start is realizing that if you get 1,000 subscribers in your first year, you're doing a pretty good job. And that's posting once per week for a whole year, 52 videos. And even that, a lot of people will not hit. Like, this is assuming you're going to make good quality content in a niche that people actually are looking for a year. So keep that in mind. And that's not to discourage you. That's to prevent you from getting upset, and so that you can realize that you're not failing. You're just going through the steps. It takes a lot of time to get rolling on YouTube, but once you cross that like 1,000 subscriber mark or so, you start finding your voice, finding your style, things go a lot faster. For example, I did a video with a new friend of mine, Tom Dupree III, and he had about 1,000 subscribers when we did that video only a couple months ago, and he's over 3,000 now. It took him like a couple years to get to 1,000. So again, not to discourage you, that's to kind of set your expectations. So if you enjoyed this video and you want to learn more about music marketing, you can check out this playlist right here. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.